Unemployment is one of the fastest growing issues faced in the Philippines. Due to the global pandemic, the Philippines experienced the biggest spike in both unemployment and underemployment in all of its history. Because of how sudden the change was, one of the first things that came into people's minds were their jobs. The economic shutdown caused millions of already struggling Filipinos to lose their jobs, making them unable to support their families. But before we dive deep into the topic at hand, we have to first understand what unemployment actually is. The term unemployment generally refers to a person who is in search of employment but isn't able to find work. Unemployment rates, meanwhile, are just the ratio of people unemployed to those who are already in the workforce. We use this measurement as a reflection of the current economic status of a country. A high unemployment rate will cause adverse effects to the country's economy. This is because with less workers in the field, there will be less people contributing to the nation's GDP. This will result in a lower living standard for everyone. Now, unemployment isn't only a problem in terms of the economy, as it also affects the mental health of those who are unemployed. For them, the inability to find work causes a lot of stress. It can take a toll on their mental health, especially if they don't find any solution soon. Even the people who remain employed are also affected mentally, as they are constantly worrying over when they would lose their jobs, or guilt as they see their colleagues being let go. Coming back to the issue at hand, unemployment remains to be one of the biggest economic issues plaguing our country. In April of 2020, the Philippines experienced the highest spike in unemployment at a whopping 17.7%. This equates to 7.3 million unemployed Filipinos. It is all the more surprising considering that in 2018, the unemployment rate was a mere 2.34%. The biggest economic sectors affected by the pandemic, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority, are service activities, accommodation and food service activities, transportation and storage, and financial services and insurance activities. The last point of evidence is the overall decrease of our country's economy. From the second quarter of 2020, there was a drop of 17% in the nation's GDP. This means that the overall living standard has decreased for all Filipino citizens, even those who aren't directly affected. If we don't address the issue soon, one of the effects would be the rise of poverty. Not everyone suffers the same from economic shutdowns like these. Those who are generally wealthier are barely affected and will likely have a better time than most. The middle class would be hit hard and suffer from the adverse effects, but would most likely make it through. However, the pandemic will make it really difficult for the lower classes as they already lack financial security, making them the ones who suffer the most. There are already cases wherein people are forced to adapt to the new circumstances, just like in this video.
Nyan pe bisa nga nag-invest ko nga rice field nga kuan aleto kumbaga nyan to pangalagong pansuporta kasi ni sweldo ko bisang la sir at least kayang-kayat nga i-balanse marila to pang sarili kailangan yan investment na pa para sa pamilya.
Matching the skills that is provided by the schools to the skills needed by industry. So we have to address first the skills mismatch.
Kung minsan namumulot ako ng mga plastic yan tapos binebenta ko. Ayun, malaking bagay din nakakatulong din sa loob na isang linggo nagbebenta ako mga 200 piso.
Sa totoo lang po, hindi ko din po alam kung ano mangyayari sa akin after graduation. Pero syempre po, itatry ko yung best ko na ma-employ.
Dagdag sikap, tsaga, tiis, lahat. Kailangan pagbuti ng trabaho. Pag sobra, mag-ipon. Ganun lang.
Now that we talked about the issue of unemployment, as well as its effects, let us now discuss the possible solutions to it. So what could the government do to resolve the issue? Well, there are many things that a government could do, but one thing I would like to focus on is the establishment of a better, more reliable social safety net. But first, you may ask, what is a social safety net? For those of you who don't know, an SSN is a program designed to protect families from the impacts of economic crises. Programs such as cash transfers, social pensions, and disability benefits are examples of social safety nets. According to the ADBI, one of the main issues regarding financial security within the Philippines is the lack of a well-developed SSN to support them when there is a shock. This absence results in the lower classes continuing to suffer as they are the primary victims of unemployment. And so by establishing a reliable and consistent SSN, we can give struggling families better access to financial support, which can help relieve some of their issues momentarily. Maybe now you might ask, what could I possibly do to help? Well, we, even as individuals, can help in solving this issue simply by supporting local businesses within our own communities. Micro, small, medium enterprises contribute the majority to the Philippine economy, as they represent 99.6% of all business establishments here in the Philippines. Simply by purchasing products from small businesses within our community, we are able to support these companies to keep them going. It may not seem like much at first, but the more people actively supporting local businesses, the more impact we can have towards the economy. As the pandemic continues to pose problems for small business owners, it is vital that we play a role in supporting them, to keep local firms going, and to improve the overall economy. And on that note, I would like to end this video. Thanks for listening and goodbye.